Welcome to IGCSE Bob. We're going to have a special video teaching you how to do paper 2 for history. Here's some general tips. So when you're looking at sources, you're looking at how biased it is, and if it's propaganda, does it have self-interest, or is it even relevant? For example, its meaning and its intentions. For example, and for cartoons, we look at the time, who, the place, the events, and references. We look at the key role players, facial expressions, and metaphors. When you're looking at these sources, ask yourself whether it is supporting something, or is it against something, or do neither. When you're answering the question, make specific references, like Source A supports this statement because, and use your own knowledge, something that a source didn't mention. Also, remember to assess the reliability of the source. Question 1s normally assess the attitudes of both authors for two different sources, whether they have positive or negative views. So remember, to gain a level 5 in this question, you need to compare the attitudes. You also have to compare the agreements over points of detail by contrasting source A and B. Agreements have to be followed by specific references from source. Remember to quote them. This also applies for disagreements. In the concluding sentence, you can write, in conclusion, although there are some differences in events and time, I think they both agree. Or we can also conclude in a different way. For question 2, you'll be proving whether a source is wrong or right, or a statement is correct or wrong. So, we can say, on one hand, D agrees with C because, and you make some quotes and explain. Then on the other hand, D doesn't prove C because blah blah blah. Remember, you have to talk about the provenance. Who? For example, we can say a journalist under strict censorship. So it will have contradicting claims in his or her writing. You can also suggest that there's something that shows that the author does not necessarily agree, like it is asserted that. And you will also be questioned about whether you were surprised by a source. Well, remember to start from a broad and whole view. Start from saying yes or no. You were surprised by something and why. And then, however, you weren't surprised by something and why. At the end, you can say overall, something, 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 quote, comes to the conclusion that you think you were surprised or not. Remember, you have to use the immediate context, have a broader political view, and view the source as a whole. And for questions like, why was the source published? You can answer based on this structure. The source was useful to show that something like the big message of the source and something else. And then you talk about the purpose. So the purpose of this message is to encourage blah blah blah, something else. You can start by talking about why, and then the message, and then the purpose. For the usefulness of sources, you have to show the limitations of sources, some things that are not shown and specified, and then you go to the reliability, and then you go to the purpose, where you decide whether it is suggestive or it has a weird attitude. You can also talk about how more useful it was to persuade other people. And for the last question I'll ask you to compare all the sources and how far do you agree to a certain statement. So you list all the sources that agree and all the sources that disagree. Remember to quote, and then you assess the reliability of two sources. You just evaluate it. This is to help you get full marks, and it's required for you to assess the reliability of at least two sources for the last question, because it will get you 2 marks. And this should be it. You should be fine if you understand how to handle these techniques. Wish you the best luck, and IGCSE Bob signing off.
I'm better, so much better now. I see the light, touch the light, we're together now.